what's up everyone? We're out in the backcountry in Colorado today. Got a lot of fresh snow overnight. Should have about 7 or 8 inches out here. And today we're doing a powder test with the Endeavor Archetype. Super stoked to check this board out. I've been wanting to ride it for a long time. And in this video, I'm gonna go through all the tech and I'll share my thoughts on how it feels on snow as well. Let's check it out. All right, for reference, before we get into the tech, I'm 5'10", I weigh around 150 pounds, and I'm riding the Archetype 154 today. This is gonna be a powder focused board on the Endeavor lineup, and it is fully directional with a swallowtail. So it has a directional outline. You're gonna get a longer nose and tail outside those front contact points, giving the board more surface area up front, as well as a very significant swallowtail. So that's gonna help reduce the surface area in the back to help drop the tail. Also gonna make it more nimble going through soft snow. It does have these metal skid plates on the tail as well for added durability, as well as a significant taper. So you're gonna get a 26mm taper on this snowboard. So the tail is significantly narrower than the nose. Again, helping reduce the surface area in the back. And all those things are gonna work together to help give this board more float and give it a great feeling in soft snow like we have out here today. It also runs what Endeavor calls their hover camber profile, which is kind of like a shifted camber. I'd say overall is camber dominant, with positive camber running from just about under the front foot all the way out to those tail contact points, with a rockered nose to help give it a little bit of a better glide and better float and powder. It also has a shallow planing nose, which is always nice to see. You're also gonna find some carbon built into this snowboard with 2 pretty significant carbon beams running from the end of the swallowtail out at an angle towards the center of the board here. 2 strips going from each corner of the swallowtail out to the center there. That's gonna help to give the board a little more energy, more snap, and more stability, helping give you a little bit more out of this swallowtail while keeping the board nice and lightweight. You're also gonna find urethane sidewalls, so that's the same material that skateboard wheels are made out of, to offer a little bit of dampening if you do find yourself in some variable conditions, or maybe you're riding some kind of choppy snow on resort. It's gonna help mellow things out, help dampen those vibrations, make it a little bit more comfortable on your feet and your knees. And it's constructed with a triax fiberglass layup. So that's 3 directions of fiberglass in this snowboard. It's gonna give it a little bit more response and support torsionally, and just give the board a little bit more energy overall. Might stiffen it up a little bit as well. I'll have to give you some feedback on that later on in the day, but does have that triax fiberglass layup. Other than that, you're gonna find a sintered base in the Archetype, which is known to be a harder, faster, and more durable base material compared to an extruded base. You do wanna make sure to wax this board regularly to maintain a nice, consistent, fast glide out there, but it's always nice to see those higher end bases built in the construction. So that's gonna be a quick tech breakdown out here. We're gonna get these laps going. Got tons of fresh powder out here today. Super stoked to get these laps going. And we'll check back in later on to give you some feedback. Oh my Lord. Start off talking about the flex you're gonna find in this snowboard. So at a 154, I'd say the flex is just a little bit on the stiffer side of medium, and actually comes through with a pretty responsive, sturdy feel. It's got some decent stability to it. As far as flat ground and butter type tricks go, obviously with this directional outline and the swallowtail, that's not gonna be a focus point with this snowboard, but you can still have fun playing around, dragging that swallowtail around out on the groomers. I will say it does get a little bit weird in softer snow conditions, like when you might be taking this board out after some fresh snow falls down. So just pay a little extra attention if you are doing that kind of stuff. It does have some pretty good energy though, especially considering that it has a swallowtail, so there's not as much material in the tail of the snowboard. It comes through with a good amount of pop and isn't something that I think you're gonna be disappointed by, and I think enhances the versatility of this snowboard, which is one of the biggest standouts for me, considering the design of this one. With this swallowtail design, obviously proper terrain park laps are going to be a bit more of a novelty, but I was actually very surprised in that regard with this snowboard. board. With the way that they've done the swallowtail, there's a decent bit of tail past the contact points with a good up kick, and the only directionality between the contact points is that taper. So this board actually rides switch very well, and if it does look like a fun park day when you're on this board, I would not hesitate to take it in there. It's not going to be a board that's obviously going to be very helpful for like park progression, but if you're just cruising, taking some park laps with your friends, I think you're going to have a surprisingly good time with this thing. You know, definitely more of a novelty, but still fun. I also want to talk about the carving experience with the Archetype as well. And I got to say, this board actually has pretty strong edge hold. It's a very competent carver. It's fun for taking on the groomers and making some turns. You're not really going to find much chatter in this snowboard, but it is a little bit limiting with the swallowtail, especially on the exit of more aggressive carves, since you're really just using half the tail of the snowboard. It's something you could maybe find the limits of with more aggressive carving, but overall it's pretty responsive and capable, and gonna be fun cruising groomers if there isn't any fresh snow when you take it out. But let's talk about the powder experience as well. Obviously, with these directional swallowtail shapes, that's the first thing that you think of. I've taken this board out on some very deep days out here in Colorado, and you know, here we get very light, dry snow, so it doesn't offer as much buoyancy. I rode this board in a 154, and I think for just general versatility for everywhere around the resort, whether that's groomers, trees, park, or powder, for me at about 155 pounds, that's the size I would go for. But if you're looking to get this board for like a powder cruiser, you're just gonna take it out on the deeper days and everything else is kind of more on the side, I'd maybe consider even stepping up one size to the 58 just to get that optimal float. Not to say that this board struggled in the Colorado powder, but it left me feeling like I could have had a little bit more float. To be fair though, I didn't set the bindings back. It was just centered in the side cut there. So I think that would probably help a little bit. But if you do want to maximize that float, maybe consider stepping up one size. All in all, this is one of the most versatile swallowtail shapes that I've been able to test to date. So if you like this kind of design and you're looking for something versatile with those directional aspects that enhance the carving experience, give you some nice maneuverability in the trees, has a good feel for more all mountain riding and mellower free riding on the groomers, and of course has those added powder benefits as well, and just kind of has a good feel to it. You know, riding a swallowtail just makes you feel badass looking down, having that under your feet. Check out the Endeavor Archetype. I actually have a 20% discount code for any Endeavor snowboard this season. Just use code boardarchive if you guys want to check any of their stuff out. I'll have it linked down in the description below this video. Leave any questions for me down in the comments, and please don't forget to leave a like if you got some value. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I appreciate all you guys, and we will see you in a new review next time.